Alright guys, today we're going to be talking about monster taming franchises that have either exited the West completely or no longer exist in any meaningful form in sort of a fun but likely unsuccessful attempt to see if we can revive them. Now, you might be wondering what I'm going on about. So, earlier this week I put out a community post asking you guys to let me know which franchises you'd like to see make a comeback, and to be honest, I had a list of my own already good to go, and I sort of wanted to see if there were any large common sentiments regarding games outside of that list, and it looks like I did end up actually getting all the major ones, and that's basically what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be going over these games that a lot of people really want to see make a comeback. This video is not going to be put together like our typical list videos. It's more so just going to be a straight discussion with gameplay from these different games peppered in. So with all that being said, make sure to sit back, relax, and let's talk about which games we want to see make a comeback. Alright, so first we're going to start by going over the monster taming franchises that still exist, but not in the West, so only Japan. Obviously, if you've been watching my channel for a while, Yokai Watch is one of the first ones that comes to mind, and a lot of people really want to see this franchise make a comeback in the West. There's been a lot of rhetoric regarding the game franchise being dead, but I did explain in this video that that's not really the case. The games are still selling better than your average Shin Megami Tensei game in terms of local sales, so while sure the game isn't as successful as it was when it was literally beating Pokemon in sales in Japan, I do think that now that Level 5 has brought back their Western releases, Yokai Watch 4 and any subsequent Yokai Watch games should definitely be revived out here. Another interesting case is the Metabots situation, where if you didn't know or watch my video going over how Metabots basically lost their trademark outside of Japan, allegedly someone who is running crypto games actually was able to snatch the trademark, made a crypto coin that ended up going nowhere, and is now using the IP to create another crypto coin. And last I heard, the game actually removed NFTs because NFTs kind of went nowhere, but this whole situation is actually preventing Metabots from making a comeback outside of Japan, and it's really sad to see. Metabots was a really cool TV show, and I feel like we missed out on a lot of Metabots games not making it to the West. All of this crypto trademark situation is being dealt with in the courts right now, and even if Metabots does get that trademark back, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that we'll be getting games in the West. The only games we received were the GBA titles that we did do a showcase video on a couple weeks ago. Dragon Quest Monsters is another franchise that a lot of people want to see make a comeback in the West, and it's honestly kind of surprising that the 3DS games didn't make it here, but we did get Dragon Quest Treasures recently on Switch, which, while not a Dragon Quest Monsters title, is still a Dragon Quest title with monster taming, so I am hoping that this is sort of a warm-up to bringing more of the DQM games out here. If not directly a Dragon Quest Monsters title, I'd love to see them bring back monster taming in Dragon Quest mainline titles like we had with Dragon Quest V. I think it'd be really cool if 12 featured monster taming as one of its main mechanics, and with it being such a reputable franchise, it could actually make Pokemon a little bit scared in terms of high-quality AAA monster taming game. So just something to think about. So next we have some franchises that are completely dead, and I think honestly would cause massive hype if they were to revive themselves. I hear a lot of people asking about a new Fossil Fighters game. I know many said that they didn't enjoy the 3DS version. I have only played the NDS version myself, and basically how the game works is you have to mine for dinosaur fossils and essentially revive them and use them in battle. It's a really cool concept. I know the game franchise never sold incredibly well, but I've definitely seen enough comments and enough outcry from people to think that if a Nintendo Switch Fossil Fighters did make it here, given the right marketing, it could definitely stand on its own 2 feet. We also have Jade Cocoon, which had 2 main entries into its franchise, which most people describe as a Final Fantasy game with monster taming and monster fusion. I've only played the original so far, but the game utilizes Studio Ghibli art alongside a story-driven narrative, and for the time even had voice acting, which is pretty damn cool. I don't have too much experience with the fusion system, but everybody's telling me how comprehensive and complex it is, so I'll take your guys' word on that. But I do think that Jade Cocoon is another franchise that a lot of people want to see make a comeback, and it's also something that not a lot of people knew existed in the first place. I feel like if we did get a revival with modern graphics and maybe a PS5 launch, since it was originally a Sony-only franchise, that would give PlayStation users some sort of monster taming experience of their own, because PlayStation does kind of get the shaft. A lot of games will come out on Xbox but not PlayStation because of the Game Pass. I believe Palworld is going to be available on Xbox but not PlayStation, for example, so I think that would be a really nice thing to do, have this story-driven title with a pretty widespread appeal show up on the PS5 and maybe PC. Finally, a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, want to see a new Spectrobes game. If you didn't know, Spectrobes is Disney's first original video game franchise and is a game that I do plan on playing with you guys, but basically it's a real-time combat monster taming game and had various installments ranging from the Nintendo DS to the Nintendo Wii. Honestly, with the amount of money and notoriety that Disney has, I am very surprised that they haven't tried to revive this game with all of the recent buzz around monster taming and people not being happy with Pokemon, or even made their own unique IP to compete. I say this a lot, but I'm honestly surprised more big companies haven't tried to capitalize on this, because if you take 1 second to look away from the amount of sales that Pokemon games are getting, you are going to notice that a lot of people are also moving on to different franchises as well. But yeah, guys, really quick video. I just wanted to discuss some of these with you because I feel like there's a lot of franchises that would really see some sort of renaissance for themselves if they actually tried to come to the West, at least in the case with games that are still a thing in Japan. But in terms of games that are completely gone, I think the same would apply. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that all of these games are going to sell extremely well. A lot of it will be dependent on whether or not these games put out low effort ports or actual full-scale games and whether or not they market themselves well. And of course, there are a bunch of other factors, but at the end of the day, I would like to ask the community, like I asked in that community post, what game franchises would you like to see revived? All that being said, if you do want to stay up to date on the monster taming genre, I mean, hell, if any of these games get revived, I'll be the first one to let you know. Definitely make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for daily monster taming videos. You can check out my Discord, Twitter, and Patreon linked below. Special thanks to our patrons, especially Jim Hamilton, Drove Ghost, Dark Persona, Candy Morency, and Exodus, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.